Hello to all the Atlanta United fans. My name is Jurgen Damm, and you are watching Scarves and Spike, an Atlanta United podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to Scarves and Spikes on a wishing for some goals and points Wednesday. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
Let's go. I'm with you. We got one, right, Tyler? You got one on Sunday, but we almost got two. We almost got two. We got 1.5. 1.5.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about goals. I'm like,
what do you think I was talking about?
No, I haven't got any points. But yeah, I mean, look, you got a goal, and you had one that was almost a goal. It's trending in the right direction, I guess.
1.5 goals. I feel like that's a betting line, guys. Well, letting United score 1.5 goals against FC Cincinnati on Saturday.
Well, we'll find out. But we've got a big show today. We have from MLS, say it, Sydney, because I will screw it up.
Michele Giannone.
I would have definitely screwed that up, so thank you for that. Thank you to everyone that came over to the Signia and hung out with these guys and Henry on Sunday. Since that game was on Sunday, my schedule has been completely off.
Heard a big bang. Was that your mic?
Never
mind. Carry on. Continue.
In the middle of him talking. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I don't know.
I heard a bang noise, but go ahead.
Maybe. That's just probably the headache that I had after the game on Sunday. But my schedule's been off because we did the post-game thing on Monday. So I thought Monday was Sunday, and then I took off work on Monday to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. So I've been all off.
Yeah.
But we're on Wednesday. But again, thank you for everyone that came over to the Signia. Also, shout out to our other partner, Sweetwater. Big show coming up for them, right? The 420 Fest.
420 Fest. I wrote this down in the notes.
We did, but like I got off of it because I started it differently, and I didn't want to read from it. But
going off script, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we're at.
Roddy Peach IPA. I had one while I was down there a few weeks ago. Still, the only IPA I will drink ever.
It is a good one.
Yeah.
And I actually found the 420 Fest playlist on Spotify.
You did.
A lot of Cypress Hill on there. That's the main one that I know. So shout out Cypress Hill, Insane in the Membrane. That would be my band that I'd want to see if I came there, but I don't know if I'll be allowed to go. But that's on April 18th to 20th. So come check them out at Pullman Yards. I've never been there, but it's big field.
No, not a field, but Tyler, you've been. Well, we've both been there, Tyler. You and I mean,
together?
How do you just
not together, but
no, separate times. I mean, it's in a big event, historical event.
So.
Yeah.
I got to come down. You guys get all the cool festivals down there. I've always wanted to go down to a festival. I've never been able to.
Come down April 18th to 20th.
I will. I love 420. And I'm sure I love the festival as well.
And you'll probably love the music.
Oh, yeah.
Real quick, Tommy, you said the 420 Fest playlist is on Spotify. You know what else is on Spotify, guys? What else is on Spotify?
It's a good segue.
Us, exactly. We are on Spotify. Search Scarves and Spikes. We are on Apple Podcast, whatever it's called, Apple Podcast. We're on iHeart. Search Scarves and Spikes. Subscribe. Get our show in audio form. We got our MLS show, our post-match reaction shows, our 3 takeaways, all that good stuff.
Everything.
That's on our audio feed. Everything, pretty much everything on our audio feed. So search Scarves and Spikes, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and iHeart. That's a great segue, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Or if you want, you can illegally download us on Napster. And if you don't know what Napster is, ask your parents, and they will tell you about the wild times of Napster.
Right.
But also, check out the website. These fine gentlemen and the others are writing great articles there daily about the team, about the twos, about a little bit of everything. So check the website out, scarvesandspikes.com. Join us on Patreon. We're having a ton of fun there. We're doing our first watch along on Saturday. So it's just you get a Zoom link, join us. Everyone else comes in and we chat about the game, and hopefully you'll be chatting about a win. And I will hopefully be sober enough to join you all at halftime to see how everyone's doing.
Not
mentally.
even the end of the game, just halftime.
Just halftime.
Yeah.
I got a 4.5 hour drive at 8 a.m. So we'll see what kind of mind frame I'm in at that point.
Yeah.
But join us. We've had a ton of fun. We did a contest over the weekend. It was guess the first goal scorer, and 4 people guessed Latte Loft. So I still have to draw the names of the winners there. But we do a lot of fun things in there, or just come talk about the team, movies, music, whatever you'd like. With that said, what's that?
So all kinds of good stuff.
Absolutely.
Even Pro Rel. Pro Rel is good.
Well, before we get to that.
Well, we can hold for now.
Well, no, we can get to that absolutely right now. But there's moments in United States history that you celebrate. And there has been a hashtag that has been going around for so long. And even in like our random posts, like you just get a Pro Rel USA hashtag out of nowhere. Like you just get attacked out of nowhere and just say this game doesn't matter because there was no Pro Rel in there. So Ben Fast or Ben Quick, I forget who his name is, and all the others. I tried to find a cupcake in the household to light a candle for you to celebrate this momentous occasion in the USL and Pro Rel. Couldn't find it. But to me, to you, please stop hashtagging me in any response of anything anymore. You got what you wanted. Now they're trying to take down MLS. That was the tweet that I got right before I hopped on the show.
Just come out of nowhere.
They're never happy. They're never happy.
Nowhere. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, posting something very like unassuming, and then an hour later I'll look. I'm like, oh, a reply to my tweet, and it's Pro Rel for USA, and I'm like, what? What are we doing?
It's like flies to honey, you know.
It really is. And now
it's here in the South.
It's cool. Like it's cool that it's happening. MLS doesn't have to be involved in it. Like you can have one world, and you can have your other. You have the DC universe, and you have the Marvel universe. They don't have to combine. It would be cool if they did at some point, but it could exist in its own worlds. But congratulations to the USL for creating this. I saw Paul McDonough was talking about this earlier today. It's a cool story.
And just real quick, you know, kind of on that same topic, just quickly. Don Garbo was here for the February 22nd season opener against CF Montreal. I had the chance to ask him, right toward the end. He did a brief media scrum. I asked him, "Hey, can USL D1 and MLS coexist?" And he said, "Well, USL and MLS already coexist," and he didn't foresee any issues moving forward. Which I get how he kind of said it. The two leagues will be existing side by side, but you have to think that USL will be trying whatever it can to make up ground on MLS, and MLS will be doing whatever it can to hold off USL and continue to keep itself as the league of choice when it comes to D1 in the United States. Now, all the technicalities, all that other stuff that needs to happen leading up to whatever this league launches 2027, 2028 remains to be seen. But a big first step. I don't expect USL to automatically right off the bat be the top D1 league in the U.S., but certainly the groundwork has been laid, guys, and it'll be interesting to see what USL does from here. So
just put your money where your mouth is. All the hashtags, yeah, you better hide Tommy. But no, like
I almost grabbed the can just in case. I was like, as soon as I opened the bottle in my Sweetwater koozie, I was like, oh no, they're around. The comments
poured
are
in
coming.
The glass, my man.
I don't like drinking glasses.
I mean, it might be better than the alternative when you have to stand up to this online bullying every week.
Right.
The grilled cheese. I didn't even remember half the show on Monday, to be honest with you. I hid how much I was drinking on Monday. I thought pretty well. But when you guys asked me who the player of the game was, and I said Tristan Miamba, I go, what am I doing? What am I doing? Why did I say anyone but him?
No take that.
I think it was just because I said I wanted to say he had a good game, but you're like, who's player of the game? Tristan Miamba. Shut up, Tommy. Okay.
It wasn't like that
top
bad
three.
of a pick. right? Like, anyway, Pro Rel.
Could be worse.
Back to Pro Rel really quick. My only thing with Pro Rel, everybody who's been saying they want it and pushing for it for however long, you better start going to the games. You better show up. You better really, really make it a point to push this league and everything about it to be successful, because otherwise you're just online, calling out something that you think works everywhere else, and we'll see if it works here. I'm not opposed to it. I like Pro Rel, I do, but it is kind of a weird situation when you have MLS over here and then you have USL over here, and they're separate. Now USL has a Division I league. I just want to see the support. I want to see it grow. Like, this is going to be coming off the back of the World Cup, and so it should be, the high should still be there. Just be successful.
And quickly, I wrote an article on scarsandspikes.com last month about, so whenever they announced the new D1 league, and again, they need to do a lot of marketing to get themselves into a position where they can at least take a bite out of the MLS crowd. I think the winter-spring schedule will be a little bit of a challenge, of course, due to weather. So I just see how USL manages that. I know MLS has been talking about it. I know some of the owners, especially in colder weather climates, aren't for it. But yeah, guys, I'm sure a lot of discussion will be had between now and 2027, 2028. But the groundwork has been laid. Promotion, relegation coming to the United Soccer League.
Yeah, nobody should root against it, because I think people are already rooting against MLS in this, and it's like more soccer is better for everyone. The thing before talking about Marvel and DC, you should be happy that there's more comics to read. In wrestling, AEW, WWE, you should be happy that there's more going out there. Competition is good. So MLS and USL and everything else, you should be happy that there's more there. As long as the quality's there, root for it. If the quality's not there, then bash it.
As Tyler said, just again, make sure you support it. Don't just before and then leave them in the dust. Support it.
Yeah, just like
support your teams
going on right now. The Open Cup, go support it. It's fun. This is what you're going to see in some of this. You're going to see these lower division sides, playing against or they're playing in their division, but they're going to be fighting for promotion. And admittedly, between now and 2027 or whenever, Sarasota isn't going to have a massive stadium built, but people still need to go out and support, these League One sides, everything else that maybe they don't have the infrastructure yet. That doesn't mean you can't go support them. That doesn't mean that they can't put out a good on-field product and get promoted and move their way up. But at the same time, it's going to be interesting to see which teams really, really grab onto this and move forward with it, and then Isaac, would they gain a Champions Cup spot?
We don't know.
Probably, though. I think you would kind of have to, considering they have a Division One.
Yeah. Still a lot of questions to answer.
But I could see it happen. I would almost certainly think it would happen.
Yeah. We'll see. But no, I agree.
Well, I'm so sad about the Open Cup, though. I mean, we have this trophy, the Brandon Vasquez Open Cup MVP trophy, and we can't give it away for at least a year. We can't change it to Leagues Cup trophy. I don't think we could do. We need to find something else.
Got to find another one for that.
Yeah, maybe find like a minor super, like a Squirrel Girl, and then we'll put a face on it. And if you know who Squirrel Girl is, we can't have anything cool like Spider-Man. Spider-Man's got to be the U.S. Open Cup standard.
Yeah,
but we'll find something to do with the trophy at some point.
Find the most random Marvel superhero.
Squirrel Girl.
I mean that one's random for sure.
Spider Pig.
Shark Dog.
All right. Well, we got 15 minutes here. Are there any final thoughts about the Miami game? Are you feeling a little less upset about the result? Because I think there were a lot of hot takes after Sunday on Spaces. There were some hot takes on Monday night. Are you feeling a little bit better about the game after maybe rewatch or just thinking about it?
I know Tyler was at training and he spoke to, or Latte Lot spoke, and Shade Silva spoke, and I know some of the discussion, especially around Latte Lot, he is saying we need to learn from our mistakes and keep going. And I think that's pretty much the theme that Ronnie Dylan is saying. He said it in the past few weeks. Hey, we have to learn. We got to learn from our mistakes. We got to, and it's easy to say, of course, but you got to go do it. You're going to be shorthanded. Latte will be there, of course. Shade Silva, who spoke on Tuesday, maybe Tyler can shine more light into what was said. He'll be there, of course, but you're going to be missing a lot of players. And one of the things that Derek Williams said on Sunday is the guys that are here need to step up. Like, they need to take the opportunities. Maybe they didn't play every single match, but this is one of the few matches that you'll be playing this year. So take your opportunities, take your chances as they come, because as Stylus said, if you don't show improvement, you're not going to play. And it's a big opportunity. We can look at it as a disadvantage for Atlanta United, but it's a good opportunity for players, again, who don't see the field. Silva, Aldo Shiny Silva out there, guys. How many times have we talked about him on this show? What can guys like him do to elevate the team?
Yeah, I mean, you're not in as bad of a position as you could have been being Atlanta in this game, right? Like, you could have lost Latte Lath. You could have lost the rest of your attack. I mean, obviously Miggy's gone. You could have lost Saab. I mean, that you kind of got a little lucky. Of course, your defense is in shambles, but they're going to have to figure that out. But I think as far as, Latte Lath and Shande at the training ground yesterday, I guess for me, I know a lot of the complaints are the result, and what you had though over 4 games so far, and go all the way back into the preseason, you are making improvements. Now they're slow and admittedly not good enough yet, right? Like, the product's not there. It's not where it needs to be, but you're not necessarily seeing a regression. I think that's important. Like, the first 3 games, it was second half. And then, like, you get to this one, and the second half wasn't great, but it was better than the prior 3, so you've got things trending slowly in the right direction. So that's the positive about it. And Shande said, sometimes we kind of, and I'm paraphrasing, but sometimes we kind of get in our own head, like, the first 25, 30 minutes or something, we're on the front foot, we're attacking, we're strong. And then when, like, things don't go our way, we kind of get into that shell that Dialis talked about. We kind of retreat into ourselves. And he's like, we have to stop doing that. We have to play our game for the entire match. And then Latte Lath said, a lot of it was, we just need to keep going, keep progressing. But at the same time, he said, because I asked him, like, how was your connection with Brooks Lennon? Like, we saw obviously the goal, almost the second one from the same connection, but, like, how was that progressing? And he was like, it's really good. He said, we've talked a lot. I talk a lot with him and Pedro. I try to adjust where I'm at in the box based on where I know they're going to put the ball. And he said, also the same thing with Miranchuk and Saba and Miggy. Like, those are things that we're actively working on. And so you've got that, that is progressing. I think just the game itself is just irritating because Miami didn't beat you, that you beat yourself.
You beat yourselves.
You gave up 2 stupid goals. Like, the second one, whatever. The first one is dumb. It should have been 1-1.
The second one can't happen either.
It can't. 100%. Because somebody's got to clear that ball. But the first one was just that moment that happens, it seems like, in every game where you just blank and you make that mistake, and you cannot do that in front of Lionel Messi. You just can't do that.
And do it in front of anyone.
No, but especially not Lionel Messi.
Especially Messi.
And poor Derek Williams. Like, you just put him in that situation where, like, it just like, the little clown show music should be playing as soon as, like, that entire situation goes down in the first goal.
He was pissed.
Yeah.
I think that I said that on Monday. I was afraid of, like, his face. Like, Brad scares me, but Derek Williams and that face, I would not want to deal with that at all.
So,
but I would just say, hold on one second, Sydney. I would say I understand what everyone's saying, and a lot of it, when you go to training and you hear a lot of the responses, a lot of it's going to be the same that you hear week to week, or you could copy and paste it from year to year. And I listened to, I listened to Latte Loth and I listened to Silva and I've listened to Ronnie Dowd before. A lot of it seems copy and paste over the last couple of years, unfortunately. And people are saying the same thing on Twitter. And that's what scares me here is I know we have more talent than we did last year for a very large part of the season. When is it finally going to turn around?
Right.
I think that's the main thing, though. Like the leash is getting shorter, right? Like you have to have results. It can't just continue to be we're slowly progressing. At some point, it's got to be like you got to start getting some wins, not just points, but you got to start getting some wins. And as far as like, there's a lot of comments about this particular game. We're definitely going to talk about it here with Michele and then after as well. But I mean, I think in this one, this is not an unwinnable game. This is not one of those games that you're just destined to lose. Like I know that early trip in Atlanta United season, annual trip to Ohio tends to be really frustrating because you don't have anybody, but you still have your $22 million striker. You still have, the guy that was the guy last year. You still have your number 10 who needs to prove himself. So like it might be a shootout, but you need to see improvement. And it's not that this is an unwinnable game.
So let me ask you guys this. What is a fair result for Saturday? Considering, and Tyler, you said it's not like, players will be missing, but it's not like your big money players will be missing. What's a fair result? Is it a 1-1? Is it a 2-2? A shootout. If it is a shootout, I mean, yeah, you scored goals, but then again, you're letting in goals with your second unit. So maybe that's a bit of a concern that we need to discuss if that happens. You said something, Tyler, earlier that I went to hit. You said the defense. I don't remember what you said. You said the defense kind of regressed. Correct me if I'm wrong. If that's what you didn't say.
No. I said they haven't regressed.
Oh, they haven't regressed. Okay, yeah. I misheard you. No, you're absolutely right. And you hope that with another year under their belts, you hope that pairing between Williams and Gregerson and let's add Guzan, of course, in there is stronger than ever. But again, going back to Sunday, it's 2 goals, 2 really dumb goals that you give up. Outside of that, we look at the little things. We look at Miranchuk. We don't want to make him whipping boy, but he needs to get his house in order. Miguel had a good game. He had a few wonky moments. How does he continue to grow with this particular team? Slish will leave him out because he's gone. William Ba, how did he do that partnership with, we assume, Cleek, who has been out for a couple of games. So how will he get back to fitness? Things like that. I mean, let me ask too. Does this team win these past 2 matches with Mateus Cleek on the field? What do you guys think? Yes, no?
I don't know. I don't think we've seen enough of him with this team to be able to say if that would make a difference or not. I mean, really the difference for a lot of those games were just how the second half went. Yeah. I understand this one. The Miami game was different. It was just back and forth. I would say, if you wanted to say who won that half, if you just subtracted that goal, it was probably like 55-45. It was very close to where both teams, it was just back and forth. It wasn't like the other games where you were giving up the ball like a lot. And even though you'd say the Red Bulls, you still controlled a lot of it, but you didn't get a lot of scoring chances. So it was still it wasn't great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think, again, I go back to the whole point of like they're trending in the right direction, but that curve maybe is not as steep as we want it to be. And yeah, you will eventually, if things keep going that way, you're going to run out of time because at the end of the day, results are what matters. Like the wins are what matter. And you can see Ariel asked in the chat, like, with our quality, shouldn't we hold them to a higher standard? I mean, yeah,
absolutely.
To a degree, for sure. Yeah. Like, I think they know they need to be playing better because every game that they played this season could have been much better, and they were all winnable games. Like Charlotte was. When you're diagnosed with stage 4, it's Open Cup time. They like all these games were winnable. Charlotte was winnable. You got beat on 2 stupid defensive mistakes. So I think hold them to a higher standard. They have to get the results sooner than later. But I think the chemistry thing is absolutely a conversation that has to be had at least for the first couple of months of the season.
But why does
the advertisement that you were just listening to was, if you've been diagnosed with Atlanta United sadness?
So, guys, Tyler, you brought it up a couple times. Why do the mistakes keep happening? We talk about 2 dumb goals that they gave up against Charlotte, 2 dumb goals that they gave up against Miami. Why do they keep happening? Are they just, I mentioned this the other day, are they doing the soccer equivalent of gripping the stick too tight or gripping the bat too tight? Why does it keep happening? Is it mentality? Is it, hey, oh my gosh, PTSD over the past few years? Is that kicking in? Those are deeper questions that we need to ask. I don't think it's just a switch that you flip in. Just like that, the team is better. I mean, what are you thinking here? Is just what are we thinking here? I think it's a big question.
I mean, it's a communication, a chemistry mentality thing. Like, you go back to the second goal, and then you see it in real time, and you're like, wow, somebody should have cleared that ball. But then you hear Derek after say, yeah, I could have got to it, but I thought Brad had it. And that's the kind of stuff that you cannot play around in your 6-yard box with that kind of stuff. Like, somebody just needs to clear the ball. And I go back to what I said on Monday with that. You had Jay Fortune who conceded that corner because he just tried to clear the ball against, Messi and friends. He just tried to clear the ball. Whatever. It didn't come off right, but he cleared the danger temporarily, and then the corner gets taken, and then 3 players all think the other one is doing, and that kind of stuff irritates me, because it's like, and I know it irritates them, but in baseball, I screamed into your face as a kid, if you are playing and the ball is popped up, you yell, I got it, like it's mine, and you do the same thing in soccer. And so with a situation like that, of course, it's a bang, bang play. It's quick, whatever. But at that point, you're just trying to hold on to a draw. Somebody freaking send the ball. It's that kind of communication stuff that they've got to get right. They have to be on the same page. And you would hope guys like Guzan and Derek would be more on the same page because they've had time together on the attack. But Dyla's got to get it out of their system.
And I think maybe to just real quick on the goal, and good point about Fortune, that missed clearance out of bounds, out of play, that led to that corner kick, that set piece. You mentioned in baseball, you have to call out, got it, or in soccer, you hear the goalie yell, goalie, keeper, or whatever, keeper. I think it's fight or flight mode. And I think in that little moment, your mind doesn't pick up on it right away, and I think that's what happened on Sunday. Maybe again, there's a little bit of panic, a little bit of trying too hard to make things happen in the moment, and they just kind of both fluffed their lines, both Williams and Guzan. I think both equally at fault because, like you said, Tyler, one of them has to take charge, and like Bruno says in the chat, and like he just said, these guys have been playing together for a couple of years now. They have to have that chemistry. They have to have that knowledge of the other player to say, hey, I got to take charge. I have that sixth sense to know this is a play I have to make in this moment. This is a play that I have to hold back. This is the time I have to hold back. So, again, take those goals away, guys. It's a whole different match, but unfortunately we can't.
Now I'm getting sad again.
I
I was over it until I heard Sydney talk about it, and now I'm just back to 9:30 on Sunday.
Right. Now we look forward.
Yes.
We can look to Cincy.
Yes.
And who is here to help us look forward to Cincinnati? Michele Giannone. What's going on?
How are you?
Hey there.
Hi, guys. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. I'm sad too. Atlanta is my MLS pick to win MLS Cup. So.
Oh yeah.
Gotta figure something out here.
Yeah,
Get
absolutely.
it right in the second half of the season. That's where it comes in.
Exactly.
I mean, I've never. I think I've been listening to you guys for like 10 minutes, and you hit so many points. But I don't know if you already talked about it. But I've never been a fan. But I think you have a big Miranchuk problem. But yeah, I think talking with Ronnie Dahlia pre-game, I was on the field for the Sunday Night Soccer on the Spanish side, and he was talking about how this team wants to play, and that's how they picked Latelaz to be their big signing, because they wanted a striker with pace. They want to play with pace. Almiron gives you pace. Saba, they want to play wide with Lennon, with Amador, but then the ball gets to Miranchuk and it's just dead. He has no pace, and he's not your typical MLS 10 that gives you goal, that gives you pace, that gives you that special play. I'm not saying he's a bad player. Obviously, he showed up. He showed great things in Atalanta, but I've never liked his signing because he's not your typical physically imposing pace guy for MLS. I don't know. I think, and also on halftime, after the halftime, I spoke with Ronnie too, and he was pissed that the team again, after starting very well, they just, I don't know, it's like the switch goes off and they're late to second balls, they don't close, they make stupid mistakes like the Sliss mistake on the Messi goal. You know, it's I think it's gonna take time, but something's gotta give, and maybe a new tactical system or figure something out with Miranchuk. It's gonna be the solution, but I don't know how you guys feel about that.
So we had Sasha question on here last week, and he kind of brought up the same thing. And this is it is absolutely a conversation that a lot of Atlanta fans, we've talked about it, we've beat it to death on this show for sure. But like right now, this is, going from last year, Miranchuk was a guy that was coming into a team that was honestly in shambles and then had an amazing run that they probably shouldn't have had. But everybody kept saying, he needs pieces around him. And so he had an excuse, and now it's like the pieces are there.
Yeah.
And it's just not playing out right. And this weekend is maybe an opportunity because Miggy's not there. Maybe, that them kind of fitting in the same places has thrown a wrench into it. We don't know. But that he's probably the biggest point of contention in the Atlanta United sphere right now.
Yeah, and you just saw what this team can be. The first 10, 15 minutes against Inter Miami, I was on that touchline between the benches, and Mascherano was freaking out how Almiron and Lennon were just destroying Jordi Alba and Segovia that were on that side. And I don't understand why they just keep the pressure on that side. And then you could see the overlap, the goal with Latelaz, with Lennon's cross, and Miggy coming inside. But then it's like when Miggy comes inside, then Miranchuk is there, and it's like, okay, what do we do now? So I don't think it's going to take time, of course, because again, Miranchuk is a talented player. He just needs to figure out, or Dylan needs to figure out how to use him. But I just don't see how he gels with the other three, with Saba, Latelaz, and Miggy. But again, the talent is there. I don't. And again, maybe I've heard people say, well, why don't you like drop him a little bit on the midfield and play him alongside Slish? But then that makes that, then he's a zero on defense. Then you have to like exert your defense even more, covering spaces. But I don't think he works as a 10-10 to create on this team, and that's a problem. So Dyla said that also something that caught my eyes, that like you mentioned last year's team, right? It's a team that honestly had no business getting into the playoffs, but they got there and had the biggest upset on MLS history. But this year now, with all the signing and everything that they brought in, you guys are contenders. Like I picked Atlanta to win MLS Cup, and Dyla said that he can feel the pressure. He can feel how the players know now that all eyes and attentions are on them. And like you said, with Miranchuk, there's no more excuses. And he feels the pressure on the players themselves. So I think with time that can be solved. But I mean, you can keep saying time and time, but weeks start going by and you need to fix something. You cannot. And I've heard also like Ronnie Dyla that when he won with New York City FC 2021, that New York City during the summer, which is true, they were barely in playoffs positions, right? But this Atlanta United and the East is so much stronger nowadays with Cincinnati, Columbus, that they're going to bring their new DP9 anytime soon. So they're going to get stronger. Miami is just a beast by themselves. So, I mean, if you are not on the top 4, that you can get at least that home advantage on the first round of the playoffs, I think you are in big trouble. And Atlanta cannot allow to run out of time in that sense.
Well, if we had $1 for every time a guest would come on here and talk about Miranchuk, we'd have $3, and it's only week 4.
I mean, because you know how talented he can be, but he just doesn't. I don't see how he fits the system and the players around him and how this team wants to play. Again, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because of the talent, but it's I don't know. If I'm the coach right now, I mean, if I have every piece available, I don't think I'm starting him, honestly.
Yeah, I don't disagree. So before we start talking about Cincinnati, let's just finish up with Sunday in Miami. We talked about this last week going into it, that this is starting to feel like a big MLS rivalry. You said you were there, right?
Yeah. I was on the sideline for the Spanish broadcast on MLS.
So seeing all these, seeing the game there, seeing the emotion, the managers, is this one of the a top 3 rivalry right now in MLS?
Absolutely. And because you're probably talking about the 2 favorites to win the East, I think, in my opinion, I mean, before the season, it's Miami, Atlanta, Cincinnati, and Columbus. Big consensus about that, right? And everything that bringing Miggy back and having for Atlanta, it's not big news, but still big news when you spend a lot on a player like with Latelaz. You bring the way I was told, Latelari, it's a Premiership, it's a Premier League talent that was playing on the Championship, and you could see. I mean, he already has 3 goals, and he got one disallowed by an offside on Sunday, and he has pace. He's a great striker, and Miggy still, you could see it. Again, I'm going back to a 15 minutes against Miami. That's the team that Atlanta can be. You just need to be more consistent. You have the pieces. And Atlanta, again, if they can finally gel and figure out how they want to play, I think, figuring out how make all the pieces to fit the way Delia wants to play. You guys already have in my opinion, the best front office in MLS with Chris Anderson and Garth. So if things are not working by the summer, and you guys are confident that they're going to invest and bring or make changes. This is nothing set in stone. I mean, if Miranchuk is not working this summer, you're going to have to start making difficult decisions, right? Because there's a lot invested in this team. I think Atlanta is still, I'm not panicking yet. I still believe in my MLS Cup pick, but
we do too.
Yeah, but it's and you saw it, for example, against Charlotte, a fantastic first half. Yeah. That's the team that you want to see consistently. Yeah, you guys didn't score a goal, and that at the end, it was difficult then when you get Charlotte in the second half. But again, it's like you gotta be consistent the 90 minutes, and that team hasn't done that. I don't know why, but it's something that it's fixable. So that's why I'm not panicking yet.
As he said earlier, something that Atlanta United need to fix really quickly, or this season can get away from them. So you talked about Miranchuk not being the prototypical number 10 for Atlanta United. One player that is probably ranking as one of the top number 10s in MLS, Evander, of course, the big trade from Portland to Cincinnati after some discontent with the front office up there in Pacific Northwest. So twofold question for you about Evander. He's stepping to a place that Lucho Costa has held down for years before leaving MLS. How does a player like him deal with that pressure? And second part of that, how good can Cincinnati's attack be? And Deke won't be there, obviously, but once he does kind of get acclimated with Evander, how good can that Cincinnati attack be?
I think it can be the best in the league, honestly. And this is counting Miami, because Evander last year on a team Portland that didn't have. He literally carried the team. I almost voted Evander for MVP. Just for the record, my vote was Cucho Hernandez, but Evander was my second pick. I mean, we're talking 16 goals, 19 assists on a Portland team that doesn't have the talent that this Cincinnati team has. And then now with Denke and Orellano, Denke, it's a beast, and we've seen it. He can be a 20-25 goal scorer in his sleep in this league. Evander obviously is a very different number type of Lucha Costa. Evander can score more goals. He's more of a I will say like a second striker, if we can call it like that. But he on this system, and on Portland he plays a little bit as a 10. Acosta is more like your typical number 10, more assist, the magic touch, the passes between the line. Evander is more it's more of a goal scorer, a second. I will compare him, with all due respect, like if people saw it, like an Alessandro Del Piero, a guy that was a number 10, but he wasn't really. He was more of a guy that play off the striker, like a second striker, attacking midfielder. And I truly believe that Evander, in a MLS where Messi doesn't exist, him and Ricky Puig are the two players that are above the rest of the field. Like I don't think it's even close. But that's my opinion. We have obviously fantastic players in MLS, but I think Evander can be the best player in MLS. Again, with Messi-less MLS, him and Ricky Puig are just in a different galaxy.
Yeah, and right now with Puig being out, I mean, he's kind of, and then Messi, with the injury and with them maybe being careful with his minutes. I mean, he's going to get consistent time among number 10s probably throughout the season. So
I don't think it sounds crazy, but I don't think it's completely far-fetched that a player like Evander could have a 2020 season. I mean, he has a 16-19 with Portland, 2020 with Cincinnati. It sounds absurd that a player can do that, but I mean, why not?
Hey, he's got the talent for sure.
And he has the guy to fit assist between the guys within Orellano and Denke for sure.
Well, speaking of some of those guys, obviously some of them won't be here for the match this weekend. Both teams missing a handful of players on both sides. With that in mind, what are some of the matchups, even if it's just the positions, that you're trying to keep an eye on for Saturday's match?
I mean, obviously with Cincy, you gotta be aware of their wingbacks. That's their ABC soccer, right? But now you maybe don't have to, like, your center backs can have more freedom because Denke is not there, so it's maybe could be easier to cover space in that sense. But I mean, again, with Cincy and Atlanta, it's what can you do on the midfield? Because I think Atlanta has an issue. I know with that Click wasn't there because of an injury, as a small knock on Friday. He was positioning to start, but I don't think Delia, and I don't think honestly Atlanta has an idea of what's the ideal pairing on midfield. Because I mean, I really like Muyumba, but he doesn't give you probably the work rate that you need for that position. Sliss is not going to be there this weekend, which is a big time miss. I don't think Atlanta has a player that can directly replace him. So that's where I think Atlanta is going to suffer a little bit, because that pressure on the midfield, who's going to run behind Evander, who's going to close those gaps. I mean, between Click and Moyumba, they're great players, but they don't give you the defensive rate that Sliss can give. And that's one of the little tweaks that Atlanta needs to address during the summer window, or even before the window closes on April 23rd. I will be very aware of the battle in the midfield and covering those spaces, who can cover and who can close out Evander when he's trying to make those runs on those passes to Orellano or even to the wingbacks. So I think the midfield battle is going to be very important and a big time test for Atlanta without Sliss.
Yeah, and then also without Jay Fortune would be the other option, right?
Yeah.
And it is Muyumba and Click. And Click I was at training yesterday. He's back training somewhat, but like you've got to hope as an Atlanta fan that he's good to go Saturday. You have twos guys that can come up, but nothing against them. They're not going to give you the same work rate as Mateusz Click.
Having said that, Cincinnati is a team that, because of the wingbacks, they go up so much that then you have space that you can, especially with your two fullbacks that with Lennon and Amador that can project to attack very well. Even not Miggy, but Saba can do that, right? And you can take advantage of those spaces behind their wingbacks because they're not the best at defending. And then Cincinnati has 3 really good center backs, but I don't think they're fast enough if you apply pace. But then again, how are you gonna play? If you are trying to play and try to dictate the play through Miranchuk, that's where your game slows down. And that's what I think Atlanta needs to avoid that, especially against a team Cincinnati. You gotta keep the pedal on. I want to see the Atlanta that we saw against Miami. They, for example, Miggy and Lennon took advantage every time they took advantage of the spaces that Segovia and Jordi Alba, when he went forward, left. That's where the goal came. That's where Atlanta looked better. And Cincinnati, it's a very similar team to Miami. Their fullbacks, their wingbacks are gonna go forward, and that's where Atlanta needs to be the better team and use those spaces. You have the players to do it. So I think Saba is going to have a big game. And of course, Lennon and Amador always are a threat. So I really like Atlanta chances, actually.
I have a behind-the-scenes question for you. Weeks like this where MLS plays during international breaks, how hard is it to prepare for any matchup? Because there's just so many players missing and trying to really analyze what that game is going to look like.
I know people in the league are not going to happy for me saying this, but I think it's kind of not great that we're still in 2025. We're still playing through FIFA breaks. So yeah, it sucks. I mean, it sucks for us, for you guys as fans. These are games that count, right? And then you have, for example, Philly. They're gonna they're gonna host St. Louis. Now, Philly doesn't have his starting goalkeeper. They don't have Gazdag. They don't have Baribo, who's for as of now the golden boot of the league. So yeah, I mean it's difficult because it's also, you want, at the end, this is sports, right? This is entertainment. You want the storylines, right? And on a FIFA break, the best players, the best matchups, and the best stories around the league are gone to their national team. So it sucks. I mean, for everyone, for us, that we want to bring you guys the best games, the best storylines, the best matchups possible, and we're missing that during the games. And for fans, of course, like for example, let's say that, I don't know, I'm an Atlanta fan, right? And my only opportunity to go to Atlanta game, I'm coming from out of town, is this weekend. And my kid is a big Miggy fan, and Miggy's not there because we're playing through a FIFA window. I think it sucks, but you know what? I think that it's gonna get addressed in the future. So I'm hopeful that this is the last season that we're not going through that. So that's basically.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm driving 4 hours to go to this game, and
there you go.
Like I didn't when I got the tickets, I didn't realize that it was a
FIFA
break
window
here.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
and
okay.
it's Philly, Atlanta. For me, after Miami, the best two teams in the East, if not whole Major League Soccer. I want them to face each other full strength, and we don't have Miggy on one side, we don't have Denke on the other side. It's honestly, it kills a little bit of the excitement and the hype of the match.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. So, we have to ask you about the U.S. men's national team. You, of course, covered the team with Univision before.
I'm a
the season
fan.
for you. Yeah,
No
absolutely.
pressure. I'm just in my couch watching the games.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. So, of course, Nations League against Panama to start out in the semifinals. U.S. have, of course, won every competition so far in Nations League, as far as Nations League is concerned. what do you make of the job Pochettino has been doing with the program so far, and what do you make of this group that he's called up for Nations League?
I like it. I don't think there's a player that was a big snub. In my case, I think you could make debate for Sendejas. I think the wingers, it's a position that is a little bit thin on this call-up, and Sendejas has been the best player on the best team in the continent for the last year and a half in Club America. Easy, they three-peated Liga MX. But then you see on the roster, for example, Yunus Musa listed as a winger, and we saw that that Pochettino has, one of the wrinkles that he has implemented has been using Musa as a right midfielder and as a right winger when attacking, and as a right midfielder when they drop to defend. We saw it against Jamaica on the Nations League quarterfinal. I really like what he did with Anthony Robinson. Of when they're building up, he tucks in as a number 8, and it gives Christian Pulisic all the whole left side of the field. Sadly, Anthony was had to leave the camp because of an injury. But I really like that he's given that he's called Diego Luna, Brian White, Zach Steffen. I think Zach Steffen should start. I don't think it's going to happen, and I don't have any inside information. I'm just using my logic. I think because Matt Turner has the experience, but Zach Steffen, in my opinion, if I have to cast an MVP vote right now, I will give my vote to Zach Steffen. He's been by far the best goalkeeper on Major League Soccer. All the metrics, all the statistics, everything. He's been the main reason why Colorado has been unbeaten. He got 12 incredible saves last weekend. Pochettino really, really likes him. But at the end, it's going to be Matt Turner. But it's interesting, right? Because the USMNT has never had issues on goal. Not issues, but, not having like that solid big-time start on goal. We go back 20 years, Casey Keller, Brad Fiedel, Tim Howard, even Matt Turner. When he was playing, he's been great. He went to a World Cup. He was great. But now he's not playing on his club. I think that the goalkeeper situation is one to look. I think Pochettino in his mind is very tempted to start Steffen, but I think at the end it's going to be Turner. And I'm really interested to see what he's going to do with Yunus. I mean, Yunus Musa at AC Milan has played as a defensive midfielder. He has played as a right midfielder. He has been as a right back. He on now on the national team as a right midfielder, right wing. Now Wea is back. Des is not there, so who are we going to see as a right back? Maybe Wea. That's a position that he knows from Juve. Maybe Musa, and then you have Wea as your right wing. I mean, Pochettino has been a breath of fresh air, and it's funny, there's 9 MLS players right now in the squad. Greg Berhalter for the last 2-3 years of his tenure never called so many MLS players unless it was a Gold Cup, and if now with the pool of talent that the USMNT has, if this would have been Greg Berhalter calling 9 MLS players, I think the internet will be having a meltdown. And now because he's Pochettino, everything's good.
That's okay.
we trust you. But it's good. I mean, I'm so excited for Brian White, 29 years old, having his first big opportunity. He's a number 9 that he's not going to start. Obviously, I think it's Josh Sargent that is going to start. But you can, if you need a goal, if you need a guy that is going to press nonstop, that is going to link up with your midfielders, with your wingers, that is going to be a threat in the box, that is going to be a nonstop psycho running, covering spaces. The last 10, 5 minutes, maybe you're down, you need a goal, you're tied, you need a goal. Brian White is your guy, and I love that he's getting the opportunity. And nothing like for the USMNT, it's always title or bust in CONCACAF.
Yeah, right? Just real quick, should the USA beat Panama, which, I mean, on paper they should, right? Who do you reckon in the final, Canada or Mexico? Of course, Canada. Jesse Marsh, Canada, really a resurgent program. Jesse Marsh, the American coach, maybe a chip on his shoulder after being spurred by the U.S., or Mexico, which, I mean, speaks for itself, right? So who do you reckon, I guess?
I mean, Mexico, it's kind of rebuilding, but they do have the talent and they do have a very experienced head coach. But I do believe that Canada can win that game, no problem. I think Canada Mexico is a coin toss. Honestly, I have no idea. If I have to pick, I will say Canada because I really like what they've done as a team, what they did in Copa America. Maybe it's not the prettiest of soccer because we know what Jesse Marsh is, that Red Bull, old school, high press, all out kind of soccer. But they have the talent and they already beat Mexico several times in the past few years. And again, Mexico is kind of a rebuilding phase. And this is something that I experienced firsthand at Univision and being around the Mexican national team. When it's the national team, those players are under so much pressure that they honestly go into the field feeling the most pressure in the world and being literally laughed at it and make fun of it by their own fans, how the USMNT have dominated them for the last 5 years easy. And now Canada, now when you see the talent on the field and the potential, you can put Mexico behind both USMNT and Canada, which was saying that 10 years ago was asinine, was crazy. But I do believe that we can have a USMNT Canada final for sure.
Agreed. And the Mexico head coaching job is not one that, I mean, you just pay me a lot of money,
Dude,
more money than
every
anywhere else.
That's every coach that goes through that is like they lose a decade
For real.
in a year, and they just come out hating.
I mean,
soccer.
we saw it. Tata Martino went in there looking like a healthy, 55-year-old and came out, a little different.
Age.
I mean, but obviously we always want to see US Mexico, right? But I think soccer wise, the best matchup and the matchup that I think it should prevail if every team plays to their strengths, it should be USA Canada.
Agreed. Michele, we're gonna get you out of here. I got one more quick one for you. What have you paid much attention to the Open Cup and all the shenanigans going on with the Magic of the Cup?
Yeah, I'm actually just as soon as I get out of here, I'm gonna tune into my boy at Des Moines.
I got it on right now. I kind of figured I want to get.
How is it going? I haven't seen anything.
So to be fair, it was 0-0, and Sporting Kansas City has been pretty much on the attack the entire match.
Is my boy Ozzy Alonso playing?
I haven't seen
the lineup.
I know. I think it was who was it that was it Ambrose that was on that I was looking at?
Mickey Ambrose on the bench. Yeah.
I haven't. Again, we're dealing with the cameras that are we know
YouTube live stream. Just one camera.
I think that might be Ozzy.
Looks like Ozzy is starting. Yeah.
Well, now he's not like shavehead Ozzy. He has like a little afro. Maybe it's harder to recognize him.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Right.
And there's their first opportunity, I think, of the game.
Nice. Yeah, I'm out that those. Well, as you know, Sasha, Dax, and BWP, but Ozzy works with me every day. On the Spanish side, and he's just the best. And we've been having so much fun with this US Open Cup thing, and he was very excited. He was unlike Dax McCarty and Sasha Klein eating McDonald's at midnight on a Saturday. So Ozzy was training, was eating healthy, eating salads. My boy was training, so I got him. Let's go.
We're cheering for him. We're cheering for him. They might be struggling a little bit right now, but it's still 0-0. So
I'm betting the kids at Kansas City is like this. MFers, all guys think that they're coming here and beating us. There's a lot of pride there,
There is.
Oh, for sure.
No, absolutely.
For sure. I mean, because you can make the age jokes all day,
right?
And it's like, man, these are also legends of the game too.
I mean, if I'm in Kansas City,
I'm rooting for them.
I want to beat the crap so much out of them. Like I don't care who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
Sasha last week when he was on, he was like, "We just want to face an MLS team.
Hey.
We want to get to the point where we can play an MLS team because that would be wild."
So cool. I mean, I love the US Open Cup, man. It's who doesn't? Like if you like US soccer, who doesn't like the the local cups. It's like the same thing in Coppa Italia in Italy. All the cups in England. You saw that when Newcastle won, what did they won? The FA? No,
Carabao.
they won the Carabao Cup. The Carabao Cup is like what, the fourth, fifth cup of importance in England, and they lost their minds.
Yeah.
So those cups mean so much.
Silverware.
The amateur teams and I think it's so cool, man. I love it, and the cup sets are the best.
No, they are.
Absolutely. All right, well, Michele, we appreciate it. We'll let you get over to your boys and watch them, but we appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you. Awesome. Anytime, guys. It's always fun talking soccer. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Michele.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Cheers. See you soon.
See you, buddy.
Kind of reminds me of like you're starting your EAFC team, like your ultimate team, and you pull like a couple cards with a couple legends, and then everyone else is just like a 60.
Yeah, FIFA Ultimate Team.
You got a couple of 82s, 85s in there somewhere.
Do you play that? Do you play that mode?
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh, either of you.
I do. Not a whole lot anymore. Not a whole lot. The microtransactions.
I go through phases, though. That's like all I want to play. And then I go through phases where I got to play my career mode. And all that
microtransactions are a little annoying, but I know what you mean.
That's my problem. During I think 2020 during COVID, you had nothing to do. And one night I was playing and I was like, this team sucks. I woke up the next morning and I'm like, why is my Xbox just charged me $100? I bought $100 worth of Madden players.
There you go. That's exactly what I'm talking about then.
And I was like, I'm not telling Tina this, but my team got way better. Absolutely way better.
I bet.
Right.
So you know what? I gotta say this real quick. That is 2 weeks in a row between Sasha and Michele that we've had some brutal honesty on this show.
You talking about Mirror Chuck or just in general?
Yeah.
I think Mo.
In general,
talked about Mirror and Chuck as well. I think.
Yeah.
3
in a row. I mean, that's good. It's good.
True.
I don't disagree with what he said about Alexi. Like, how many times over the past? And I saw someone in the comments saying, talking about we were dogging Alexi for the one show that we did Monday. We're not dogging him. I mean, I said myself, you paid him how much to come over from Atalanta? You're paying him how much annually to get essentially nothing out of him? And this is football. These guys know what's up. Like, they aren't babies; they're grown men. I mean, I bet you guys. The criticism that he's hearing from Atlanta United fans is a tenth of what he probably heard in Serie A with Atalanta or wherever else he played. I mean, he's used to it.
Or his own criticism. You gotta know it's not lost on him.
It's frustrating because you just had such high hope for him.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that we were making excuses for him last season, but it was a normal thing. Coming to MLS is always a big change there. The travel, the players that he had around him, but you just want to see some type of improvement. And I think he's regressed, unfortunately. And that's what that's what we have to talk about here. Unfortunately, I mean, until you get the points, until you start winning consistently, I mean, you're going to look at the players that have been the worst. And even Saba right now. I mean, Saba's getting a lot of criticism here. He's been very quiet to start the season. He was pretty loud in the preseason. Yeah. Thought he had a good preseason when he had 2 or 3 goals, I believe.
Something like that.
I think so.
And he hasn't produced anything.
It's all running.
It is. And we're only a month in. Right. So, I don't know if I should start crying now or not.
So
it's been 4 weeks.
I mean, yes, we're only a month in, but I mean that's a good thing. We're only a month in, not 2 months in. Let me ask you guys this though, going into Saturday, and we've already mentioned, some of the players that will be out. Going to Saturday, who is the most important player for Atlanta United among not the starters, but among your second team players? Your normally backup players. We already know about Lottie Lot. We already know about Saba. We already know about guys like that, Alexi, who stands to have, I guess, the most put on them outside of those players?
Shonda Silva.
Agreed.
It's a good shout.
Absolutely. It's a big opportunity for him.
Yeah.
And we said that with Miumba a few weeks ago with this start. He was a player that struggled a lot of last season. What can he do to reunite him to the starting lineup? And he came in after we thought that Fortune had a good game against Charlotte overall, but he comes in and has an opportunity against the Red Bulls, has a very good performance, and then he keeps it. He keeps the job. It wasn't Fortune that came back into the starting lineup for Miami, where Fortune played the whole Miami series. So you're thinking there's a very good chance Fortune's going to start this. Miumba proved it, that he was able to keep that starting position there.
Well, he's got to keep proving it, though. I mean, if he does, I mean, it's a good problem to have. Like Jay Fortune, you can pick up the slack. I mean, Tommy, you said it yourself, kind of. He really did well for Atlanta United and the opportunities that he was given with Miumba injured. So certainly a good player to have in Atlanta's arsenal. But Shonde, yeah, we've been talking about him for a while. Of course, had the biggest goal of the year against Miami last season. See, more than that, he needs to do more than that. And you're not going to have Miggy in your team, so I assume we see Saba and Shonde on either wing, or Marinchuk in the middle, of course, feeding Latte Loft, hopefully. But we talk about the players that will be missing on Saturday against Cincinnati, and just the holes in the lineup. Who's going to be playing where? What will Ronnie Dyla's team look like? Your attack outside of one player is going to be there. So really an opportunity for Atlanta in that part of the pitch to hopefully guys get on track somewhat against Cincinnati. A defense that will be missing Miles Robinson, probably will be missing Matt Miazga, probably. So there are some holes in Cincinnati's defense, their back line, and a couple of other places on the pitch. Of course, Denke will be out. Evander's still playing. Orjano's still playing. But there will be some holes in the defense and the back line that maybe Atlanta United can exploit. And maybe they could put on maybe a couple of goals against this Cincinnati team. And that'll give you, more confidence going into NYCFC the week after.
Miles did return to practice today. He was working individually.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, question mark for him, obviously.
And they got a red as well in the previous game as well. Was it Flores, I believe?
I believe so.
That sounds right, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see if this one plays out kind of well, because I think projected starting 11, right? You got Guzan, Derek, probably
tough, is it?
Ronald Hernandez, and then Pedro left, Brooks Lennon right, and then in front of them it's going to have to be probably Muyumba and Cleek. Hopefully he's good to go. And then on the right you'll have Saba. In the middle you'll have Alexi. Left you have Shonde, and then up top you have Latte Lath. I think that's what makes the most sense. You're moving Saba back over to the right. Shonde gets an opportunity, a really good opportunity. Alexi is not going to have anybody competing for space with him. And then Latte Lath has an injured / hurt, whatever back line to run against. Like, there's a lot actually going for Atlanta in this match, but I'm curious, like, if they do well, and especially if Alexi Marinchuk does well, that's going to, raise some questions about how he and Miggy, and to a degree Saba, are getting implemented, because Saba can play both sides, but he's not as effective on the left for the most part. So it does create a little bit of a conundrum, I think, for Dyla, depending on how this one goes. Now, if they go and they crap the bed, then it's like, all right, well, you didn't lose anything.
Yeah.
But it'll be very curious to see how it kind of flows.
Yeah. But again, going back to Saba real quick. He's kind of forced to play the left because you have Miggy on the right. But again, like Tyler, you said, things will get interesting if they start clicking on Saturday. It'll get very interesting when the your first choice players kind of come back into the fold. So, I mean, I hope that at least they can get out there for the draw, because this is a team, again, as we've mentioned so many times, has been very poor away. So these are results that you can't let slip through the cracks. These are results that you need to get points in. Hopefully, Lady United obviously get 3 points, but if you get at least a point considering the players that you have and the players that are missing, I think Ronnie Dyla will take that any day of the week. And by the way, stop playing matches during international breaks. It's ridiculous. Come on, guys. Let's be smart.
And Michele said it too. Like, and I know maybe sometimes that's kind of an awkward thing to have to to say as an MLS broadcaster, but like, it's not anything that MLS doesn't already know, right? Like, everybody says this. This is like, just stop doing it. Just stop having games during the international break. Period. I get why you want to do it, but you can't keep doing it, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to stop at some point.
League's Cup though ruins that opportunity.
Yeah, but
then it's going to get even more difficult next year because of the World Cup.
It's just I don't like it. I haven't liked it. I've mentioned it numerous times. I don't like it. I
don't think anybody likes it. The players don't want
it. I keep buying tickets to these games in Cincinnati, and every time I see Ronald Hernandez start.
Right.
Every time I go to Cincinnati, Ronald Hernandez starts. He did score a goal. He did score a goal one time, I remember. I think it was his first season there in against Cincinnati.
Maybe
to finish up the Miran Chuck, we picked on him enough for the day, but a couple weeks in, people were already saying he needs to go, and that very unlikely. And I said, "There's just no way this season." After 4 weeks, do you think there's a chance that they try to loan him out?
In the
summer?
I think we're close to that discussion. Not there yet, but I think I'm very close to that discussion. I mean, you guys know this.
How do you replace? Can you replace him? If you doesn't depend on the salary. Well, can you get another DP type player there, or does it depend on what the loan would be?
I don't think you get another DP if you loan it out. I mean, they have to do something, right? They have to do something. He has to do something to get right. Yeah, it's just hasn't added up for him for whatever reason.
I mean, the incoming window, it's still open, right? But you can't give up on the guy until you have to. I mean, you can't go and you're not going to go and be irresponsible with money just to bring in somebody when you do have a guy that has been very successful as a number 10 right there. I think the problem then becomes, do you just sit him and then have Miggy, step in as the number 10, and then you put Saba back on the right? I mean, it is an interesting problem, but it's also 4 games in.
Small sample size.
And I know I struggle because it is 4 games in. He has to do better. We're not sugarcoating it, but also we've seen stranger things happen where, that player just finally freaking gets it. And then it's off to the races at that point. I mean, if he can adapt his game to play with the speed that is in front of him, then it'll be amazing. And to give him credit, you see in especially in this last game, there were things that he was trying to do. He was trying to make the passes that he needed to make. They just weren't coming off. And you're going to get judged because you're making incomplete passes, whatever. But I was trying to keep a really, really close eye on how he was progressing, because he's not going to progress the ball by taking guys 1v1 and trying to outrun somebody. He's not that guy. It's his passing, and he was trying to find those, those through balls and things like that, but he just wasn't crispy enough with them. So if he can get that down, then hey, have at it, buddy. But you gotta learn to play with these other guys, or you're gonna have to take a step back.
Are we done with Mirtuk?
I was just looking up the transfer fees. What? Well, $12-13 million, and then you look at what he's getting paid a year.
Yeah.
I was like looking. I wanted to see like what it was, and thinking about. I was like, oh well, the Falcons just paid Kirk Cousins $10 million for literally nothing.
Yeah.
But I mean, this still ends up being a lot. Absolutely, because I saw a couple of people say you can use your buyout for him. Like that just is extreme here. To do something like that, it'd have to get real bad at that point to be able to do that. You just got to hope that things get better.
Yeah.
Emilio saying, Dallas is responsible for getting it right. I mean, that's part of what he got brought in.
He's the coach.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's just, definitely not a position I envy at this point, because there's a lot of tough decisions that might have to be made. Hopefully, it all comes together though, and you're like, all right, whatever. Glad that's in the past.
Okay.
So last week you all talked about like the goals, over under, and the over under is 2.5 goals for this game.
Under.
Even with all the center backs out.
Overtime. If it is over, it'll be just over. But I'm gonna stick with the under. I'm gonna take the under, guys.
Even with all the lack of
defense,
defense,
take the under
everywhere.
I don't know. I'm just gonna stick with my prognostication here and go with the under.
Bet the over. Bet the over. That's what we're doing.
I don't know. I'm not being I'm not disagreeing for the sake of disagreeing. Let's take the under.
Fine.
I mean, to be fair, this one could absolutely go either way, but I feel like there's goals in this game, considering both teams' defenses.
Many goals.
And you still do have pretty decent attacking players for Cincinnati, and then you have most of your main attack for Atlanta. So there should be
6-5 Atlanta.
Let's go. Let's go. Tommy will not make it out of that stadium alive.
Be the first team to run out of beer.
Roman Solentano might not make it out of the stadium alive with a 6-5 Atlanta.
No, for real.
So what do you guys have prediction-wise, I guess?
Well, I started thinking about this. I originally had 2-1. I don't know if you saw in our notes. I just changed it. I changed it to 3-2, and that was my prediction last week. But with the lack of center backs across the board, and you still got some offensive talent on both sides, I think this is going to be a fun match. 3-2 Atlanta.
I like it. I'll keep mine because I think me and you were
2-1 each
before you changed it. But I'll go 2-1. I mean it's still over what we said. 2-1 Atlanta.
I'm gonna say 1-1. Yeah, I think yes, you still have your attacking players. I think Latte scores again to put his total to 4, but I think Atlanta may not get what they need from the attack. Continue to get chemistry, continue get themselves together. I think maybe they concede first, but I think Latte scores the second goal of the night to pull them level. I think they leave with a point. I really do. So 1-1, come at me. I know you guys taking the over, but I'm sticking to my guns.
A point is a point.
All right.
A point is a point. Exactly.
If you come out of this with the point, I think it's good. I mean, you come back home to New York City. I think it's a 3-game homestand after that.
Like that. Yeah.
New York, Houston, and I think it's Houston. Or no, Dallas.
Yeah.
And then someone
else.
NYC,
Dallas, New England.
Yeah. This is, after this game, this is a huge 3-game homestand that you have to start picking up points here. But if you can go steal an unexpected point out of Cincinnati, it's a win for this team. You get 3. I mean, you're flying home. You're grabbing a couple bottles of Chardonnay and champagne on the way to celebrate being able to do that, because you don't want the situation where it's Star Wars night in Columbus.
Yeah.
And was it 6-1 in that game?
Yeah. TQL's been a traditionally tough place to play for Atlanta United over the years. I don't know the winless streak at TQL, but it's been a while since they won at TQL Stadium.
Lots of draws.
Lots of draws. Lots of 1-0s.
I think it was. Remember the string of years where it was like every decision day was against Cincinnati? Yeah. I think it was that last one where Joseph scored like the pseudo bicycle kick to win it on decision day. I think that was the last one.
2021?
I think, it would have had to be 20.
No, I don't know. I don't know if that's right.
I don't know.
That's right.
I don't know. It's all running together.
But I think everybody was watching because that was New York FC playoffs, correct?
Yeah, 2021, the year they won the cup, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, everybody was watching that game and to see where you were going to find us. Time flies. Time absolutely flies. Aruju was there. What a time. What a time. What a time to be alive.
What a time it was.
Yeah. Gray also has the game 1-1 as well. We didn't get Jackson.
I got him.
They responded. Okay.
Jackson, they dropped him. Jackson saying a 2-2 draw, and Henry saying 2-1 Atlanta.
So me, Gray, and Jackson are the only ones that have picked against Atlanta, but we all picked them to get a result, at least a point. So that's good.
Yeah,
it's promising.
Picking against Atlanta,
I
think it's a reasonable pick.
Yeah. Well, not against Atlanta, but we all again picked them to get a point. So
you're not super fans like Tyler and I guess.
Well, what do you guys think?
Well, join the Patreon if you haven't. We've been having a lot of fun in there, and the watch along is probably our favorite thing that we started doing when we started this. So if you want to hang out with these two gentlemen on Saturday afternoon,
I won't be there. Actually, I will not be there. I'll be at my aunt's 90th birthday party. I did not tell you guys this before the show. I meant to, but yeah, that's where I'll be.
Tell her happy birthday.
Do my best to do that. But
well, if there's a penalty,
2 to 6, and the match starts at 2:30. So,
well, if there's a penalty, can you grab your phone real quick, get the alert?
I'll be keeping track of the score, but
you and your grandmother hop on.
My aunt,
the aunt, sorry, for the goal reaction. I think that would be perfect. Go viral. Those how things go viral.
I don't know if she's a soccer fan.
That's okay. You just got to tell her what to scream.
I'll do my best. But yeah, you guys or Tyler will be holding down. I'm sure Henry too.
I got this.
Henry, but
it'll be fun. Y'all come jump in for real. The Discord is a great time. Patreon in general. And the watch alongs, like Tommy said, man, they're just fun. It's just like hanging out with your buddies at a bar, watching the game. So y'all dive in with us.
Absolutely.
Or me.
And if things don't go right, everybody's back next week. Knock on everything that everybody comes back healthy. And you get the Ronnie Bowl next week.
NYCFC.
But until then, it's chili time in Cincinnati, and we're gonna come in hot. I don't like chili. I don't like chili.
You don't like chili, or you don't like
Skyline
chili
in general?
Oh man,
I like spaghetti.
Right kind.
I'd rather just have spaghetti than chili.
Yeah. I mean, I do think whoever decided to throw them together,
it's not bad.
Might have partaken.
I've had it. It's not bad.
I mean, I'll eat anything, so whatever. But just make the chili good, and then it all flows.
Oh, Bruno put shots every time they mention Alexi. Oh, you'll be dead,
Bruno. We might be able to make that happen
if you did it on this show when the MLS announcers come in.
Right.
C'est la vie.
Best of luck to you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, join us on Saturday for the pre-show at 1:30. Talk about the lineups. come for the watch along at 2:30. Come back for the spaces where Tyler will be holding those down, and then join us on Sunday to talk about the match, and then come back on Monday to talk about all of MLS.
Busy. We got a lot going on.
Tuesday we rest.
Tuesday
we rest. Wednesday, then come back in a week.
Yeah.
And like and subscribe if you haven't already.
Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Apple Podcast. Smash it. Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeart as well. Audio version of this very show.
My kids said I'm not allowed to use the word smash anymore.
In what
You
context?
just hit the music at that point.
Music? No, that's
As you get teenagers, you're more open with the stupid things you say around them. They just go, "Dad, stop it! Dad, stop it!" I'm definitely the embarrassing father. Especially at the mall, like they do not want to go to the mall with me at all. Like you know how the malls have the music to go on, or like when you go to the grocery store and there's music going. Like now I had this realization yesterday. The grocery stores are just all playing like 90s, 2000s music. So there's me, dancing to "I'm Like a Bird" yesterday at the grocery store. And I got a whole dance for it. I think I've talked about it on here before. But I was doing the full-on dance.
I'll post a video of the social.
One day it'll happen. But if there's Blink-182 that shows up at the grocery store, I'm crying because then that comes to the realization, like, you are so old. You are so old at that point. Like, if there's a Blink-182 song at the grocery store, it's just over for me. It's like, play it at my funeral, I'm done.
Right.
I die at this grocery store.
Yo, they're murdering all the old folks playing for Des Moines. That crowd is off the chain. They're telling them to go eat oatmeal. That's
so
their
funny.
chain.
They have to take their teeth out before they eat the.
We have no room to talk.
I got all my teeth. Nothing's coming out of there.
I'm talking about the teeth. I'm talking about the playing soccer.
Yeah, I ran a mile and I could barely move after yesterday. Yeah.
I hate running.
All right. We'll talk to you on Saturday.